down with your host T. Will, yeah, keeping it real. From the A to the screen, you can feel the thrill. Rolling with the classics, we're setting the pace, highlighting the magic of our soulful space. Got the vibe, got the crew, making it tight. When the screen lights up, everything feels right. Grab your popcorn, let's make it loud. It's movie time, ATL style. Stand proud. From the silver screen to the hearts we steal. Every frame we capture is the real deal. Talking premieres, where the stars align. ATL views, yeah, they really shine behind the...
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Good morning, ATL fans. Good morning, Philly fans. Good morning, those other fans. Good morning, movie fans. Hopefully, all is well with everyone today. I'm here with my guy, my friend, my podcast buddy, Mr. Jordan Burton. And this morning we are talking Captain Marvel. That's right, not Captain Marvel, but actually Captain Marvel. Jordan, how you doing this morning, man?
I'm tired, but I'm gonna get a coffee. I'm gonna be ready for Penn State, and I'll be doing just fine.
So for those of you who don't know, Jordan is a Penn State grad and obviously going to see his team today, which is why we're doing this at 10 a.m. and not whatever time we normally do it. So, hey, man, look, we're doing this probably for the next year and a half. There are going to be some days we do it at 6. There are going to be some days we do it at 10. Today is one of those days we do it at 10. And neither one of us have really had much sleep. So, hey, we're going to soldier on through it. Jordan, man, Captain Marvel, huh? 2019.
The year of our Lord, the greatest year in
Lord.
movie history.
That's true. That's right. That's right. Hey, man, you often talk about how that was a great year for movies, and indeed it was. So Brie Larson stars in Captain America. And yeah, man, let's get into it. It was released March 8th, 2019. March 8th is a great day. It's 2 days away from March 6th, which is my mom's birthday, 3 days away from March 5th, which is my anniversary, and 4 days away from March 4th, which is my youngest daughter's birthday. So, yeah, I love early March, man. It's a great time. It was directed by Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck. The writers Anna Boden, Ryan Fleck, and Geneva Robertson Duarte. Story by Nicole Perman, Meg Floor, Lefauve, Boden, Fleck, Robertson, and Duarte. The cast is going to be Brie Larson as Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel. Samuel L. Jackson as Mr. Nick Fury. Ben Mendelsohn as Talos. Jude Law as Jan Rogue. Annette Bening as Wanda Lawson, or Marvel, as it were. LaShawn Lynch as Maria Rambeau. Very important. She's Maria Rambeau. She's not Monica Rambeau, who would later on become another version of Captain Marvel, or I forget what her name is, but it's interesting how the title has been passed down back and forth. Gemma Chan, Damon Hansu, Lee Pace, and Clark Gregg in supporting roles.
I will say, when watching this, Jude Law, and Jude Law is a really good actor.
Mm-hmm.
Watching him in this, I don't know how to feel about him as like in this movie, because he's such a good actor, and I don't know, he's just not coming off like a villain, and I mean he's coming off evil, but I'm like, okay, your decision making is bad. You're supporting. I mean, you're supporting your Kree Empire, and you're trying to kill people. But then I'm like, I don't. I don't know how, like, it's like he did the best with what he was given, I guess, in the script. And I don't know how to ever feel about him, because I really like him in this role specifically, but maybe it's just the delivery that it just doesn't work for me. And Brie Larson, I love Brie Larson. I
really liked Brie Larson the second time I saw this. I'm sorry, Jordan. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead, buddy.
Okay.
What you got?
Brie Larson is an awesome actress. I'm going to start this off by saying, because I'm going to have a lot of hate for character, but I love Brie Larson. I want to get that out of the way. I think she's an actress. I prefer her in comedies. I loved her in 21 Jump Street. I thought she was hilarious in 21 Jump Street. And Captain Marvel, the character. Now, there's different iterations of Captain Marvel in the comics, wide-spanning. There's like 3 different female Captain Marvels. There's 1 male Captain Marvel. I prefer the female Captain Marvel, the Carol Danvers version. That is my preference. When I heard Carol Danvers was going to be the iteration we were going to get, I was like, that's the right one. I love her storylines. I love Carol Danvers' storylines more than any of the other Captain Marvels, especially the whole cancer diagnosis in the comics that got everybody, even Thanos, at her funeral. It was a monumental moment in comic book history. And when I heard Brie Larson was going to be Captain Marvel, I'm like, all right, I can do it. But I don't think they work well together. I don't think Brie Larson and Captain Marvel work well together, or Disney/Marvel has no idea how to put the two together. And it comes off very bland and generic.
Yeah, that was my initial thought. And you know, the wonderful magical thing about this process is, you know, sometimes you get a chance to take a second look. And in my case, I see stuff I really didn't see before. But we'll get into that. Music was by Pinar Toprick, the first female composer for an MCU film. The budget was $152 million to $175 million. The box office was $1.13 billion. 1.131 billion with a B. 42.68 million domestic. First female-led MCU film to break 1 billion. Like you said, man, 2019 in the year of our Lord was a very, very, very good year.
I mean, wow. I remember working at I saw this movie twice in the theaters because I was working at the movie theater, so I just got in for free, and I saw a lot of people's reactions to the movie. And this was in between Infinity War and Endgame, and we also got Ant-Man and the Wasp during this time. And man, everybody wanted to go see these two movies because the end of Infinity War, like, it was very clear we were going to get Captain Marvel at some point. Mm-hmm. So I like the idea that this was set in the 90s. All right, I like the idea that it was set in the 90s. Mm-hmm. But you don't gotta punch us in the face with Blockbuster, Radio Shack, payphones. You don't need to do. I grew up. I never at any point in my life lived in the 90s. I was born in 2000.
I did.
But I experienced all of that in the 2000s. Yeah. I love Blockbuster. Radio Shack was still a thing in the early 2010s. Yeah. And payphones, I mean, I can still, if I could go right now to the nearest payphone. They don't exist as much as they used to. Maybe 15 years ago is right around the time they started fading away. But I remember using payphones. Yeah. And so they punched you in the face with all the 90s references, including the music that I just...
You don't like Kurt Cobain?
How can you not love Kurt Cobain? There are certain songs. No, I like the songs. I don't like the idea of them, like some of them just felt like the scene didn't match the song.
Okay.
Especially
that's
the space fight with what was it? Was it Gwen
Just
Stefani
a Girl
that was singing? Yes.
Just a Girl.
Every time I watch that scene, I'm just like, this is the music that they chose. And I don't feel like that throughout any other MCU movie.
Yeah.
And I watched that scene, I'm like, this is the song you chose? Like, there are billions of 90s songs you could have gone with for this movie. And the one song, Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls, that made sense. You're in a road trip with Nick Fury. It made total sense to throw that in there. But we kind of already used that in, what is the movie? We Are the Millers. We Are the Millers kind of brought that renaissance in for that song.
Yeah.
And it was a road trip. It felt like, yeah, we've already done this before. So yeah, the songs, the overt night. This was a movie that, like, I love nostalgia pieces and time period pieces of like going to the 80s and 90s. Like I like that. But it felt like they tried way too hard with this.
And you know, it's interesting because that was not my experience the second time I watched it, man. And it's weird because I did not like this movie the first time. I didn't like it at all. I thought she was too stoic. I thought she was too stiff. But watching it the second time, and I don't know, maybe it's this process that demands that it has your full attention. I was just a tad bit captivated. Now, the whole "I'm just a girl" thing, I admit they were probably pandering to certain political bases there. You know, here we go. We could, like, that was a little on the nose, but outside of that, I
a song like earlier on in the movie, but not during a fight scene.
Right.
In a fight scene makes totally no sense whatsoever.
You need some kick-ass music there. Yeah. But I did like the Kurt Cobain when she goes to see the insightful one or whatever that entity was. I did like that. Yeah. Especially with the record player. I thought that was kind of cool. I did like that. I
hear that song every day at work. So
really,
I heard. Yeah, there's one radio station we play every single day at work, and it's the same songs at the same times throughout the entire day. And some of the songs you get used to. Some of them I've listened to. Like there's a lot of Linkin Park that's played. I love
Linkin Park. I love Linkin. Oh, I love it.
And sometimes there's a lot of other songs that are overplayed, and I'm just I like them, but now it's like I listen to them too much.
What's that song that it's in Mission Impossible? It's by it's not. That's Fred Durst. It's what's the name of it? I don't know. I think about them, but I love Linkin Park. I love because they have a song in Transformers that I absolutely love. So yeah, I'm a big Linkin Park fan. Mm-hmm. I love "Smells Like Teen Spirit" from Kurt Cobain and the band. But yeah, man, I'm big love that. Let's get to the plot, man. Set in 1995, Carol Danvers, aka Vers, is a Kree warrior with amnesia and power she doesn't understand. She's trained under Jan Rogue, played by your guy, Jude Law, to fight the Skrulls. When captured, she discovers suppressed memories of her past life as a U.S. Air Force pilot. Back on Earth, aided by Nick Fury, she learns she absorbed cosmic power from the Tesseract via an experimental engine designed by Dr. Wendy Lawson, known as Mar-Vell, the first Captain Marvel. Mar-Vell, as she says, 2 words, Mar-Vell. She embraces her human identity, unlocks her full abilities, and chooses independence from the Kree. Carol allies with the Skrulls, defeats Young Rogue, and sets out to help the Skrulls and find a new home. In the credits, she inspires Fury to form the Avengers Initiative, and in the post-credits, returns to the Avengers headquarters during Infinity War's Fallout, which is kind of a big old summary of the movie. But, bro, I enjoyed this. So a couple of things that jumped out to me about this movie, and we'll get into the themes, but to me, this movie was about doing the right thing in the face of what you've been socialized to what the truth is versus when you find out actually what the truth is. You talked about Jude Law initially, and they really do a great job of manipulating her, lying to her, replacing her memories. And when she finds out, a lot of people would have just been like, oh, that's not true, because they're so indoctrinated in what they've learned. You get what I'm saying? They're so immersed in the lies. And most people don't want to believe that the entire 10 years or whatever she was up there was a lie. I liked that about this story, the fact that she was willing to listen to people that she normally would not listen to. You got to understand, and those of you watching this, you probably do understand, but the Kree and the Skrulls are bitter. They're like Crips and Blood. They hate each other. And they have been warring factions for years. And so for a Kree or someone of Kree descent or Kree heritage or even Kree affiliation to even listen to the Skrulls is heresy by this. As a matter of fact, first thing Jude Law says when they show up is, what did he say? You're fraternizing. You're fraternizing with the enemy. That's, you know what I mean? And that's a big thing. But Jordan, you mentioned it. Let's talk about the element of manipulation. And I think Jude Law plays this perfectly because he believes what he's doing is right. He knows it's a lie. But I really believe that he feels like it's for the greater good of the Kree, right? A lot of folks will do evil things if they can convince themselves it's for the greater good, right? Because it gets easier to go along and do bad stuff if you just tell yourself it's for the greater good. Let's talk about that. Give me your thoughts on it. And you kind of delved into it a little bit, but give me your thoughts on specifically how they kind of manipulate her and Jude Law in particular, and how because they clearly have a connection. He clearly has an affection for her. Because two things can be true, right? You can have an affection for a person and you can be a complete liar, which he is. But give me your thoughts on that. Let's talk about this one component of this.
Well, I will say it was very interesting the first time I saw this, seeing the Kree end up being the bad guys in the end, and the Skrulls being the good guys, because that's most of the time it's the opposite.
Yes.
Which it feels like as the MCU grows in future projects that we'll get to, it's starting to become the opposite now, and reverting back to that. Kree are good, Skrulls are bad, which is very interesting. I think, I mean, the Tesseract, it's the last time we saw the Tesseract, it's funny, this is the only Infinity Stone so far in our rewatch that we've been introduced to, because the last time we saw this, it was in Captain America, the First Avenger.
Yep.
So I think that the Tesseract I think what the Kree and the Skrulls want is similar. Like, they want a home. The difference is the Kree now want more of the home. Like, they want to continue to build. And I think it's maybe overpopulation. I think we end up seeing in future movies, like the Marvels, there's probably overpopulation having to do with all of that. With the Skrulls, they just don't have a home, and both can use this Tesseract to their advantage. And the Tesseract being a literal object versus Carol is the embodiment of the Tesseract. Mm-hmm. Like, she has the powers. She has all this cosmic power that you can, that the Skrulls could use, that the Kree could use, and the Kree definitely could use. Mm-hmm. So, and it's so interesting. I can't wait for us to get to the Marvels, because I actually enjoy that movie a lot more than this movie. And this movie, I mean, they're like pulling Carol in two different directions when she doesn't even know what direction she's going in,
right?
Because she doesn't have any memories whatsoever. So I think even the Skrulls are taking advantage of her at times, because it's like she can't trust anyone, because everything she's thought she's known is a lie. Yeah. So I mean, it's one of those things that, like, she just, I mean, you feel bad for her. And I mean, I wish they dove a little bit deeper into, like, I don't know, maybe it was the end, maybe it was the ending for me that was just flat. And but I wish they dove deeper into her not trusting the Skrulls and the Kree. Like, you could clearly tell she just didn't trust the Kree to this point. But, like, she always was like, I don't trust the Skrulls at first. But then as the movie kept going, she, like, went fully supporting the Skrulls. I wish by the end of the movie, she was still hesitant. Because then that would have led to future projects with the Skrulls having an issue with the Skrulls.
Yeah. No, and that makes sense. I think the thing is, if you found out that, you know, your home team, everything they told you was a lie, and the people who told you were your mortal enemy, you might, I don't know, that's tough. You might develop some, I mean, a little soft spot for Jordan. No, they did tell you the truth, right? I mean, nobody's hands are clean in war, as Talos says, but he was the one to reorient her with the truth. She did learn it. I mean,
considering I think what you're saying is completely right, and the one line that always drives home for me with the Skrulls is, we just want a home.
Right.
But they still killed people.
I mean,
which is war. Crazy.
It's war. People are going to die.
They killed. It's not the Kree that they were killing.
Yeah.
Both the Kree and the Skrulls were killing innocent bystanders that had nothing to do with anything whatsoever. And that, I'm like, what is, like, it's war, but then you're involving people who are not even involved in the war. And I'm like, you guys are both wrong.
They are. I'm not defending it. Yeah. I'm not. They are wrong. But here's what I will say, specifically from the Skrulls. I mean, a large part of their issue of their strength is anonymity. To the extent that gets out, it is full scale war on them. Mm-hmm. So if you happen to see them, you got to die. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Now, if you're talking innocent bystander and you get caught up in something, that's one thing. But if you see me, you got to die. Good morning, Claire Bear. You okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Jordan, give me a sec. I got to bring my niece on. She's spoiled rotten. Come here, Claire. She is rotten.
I am not rotten.
Come here. Yes, you are. Come here. That's why you came in here with your little rotten self. Come on. Say hello to everyone, Claire.
Hi, Claire.
Hi. This is my niece. She's the sweetest girl. She loves attention, and she's spoiled rotten, and she loves the camera, and I love her. So I really can't tell her no when she brings her little cute self in here. How you doing this morning, Claire Bear?
Good.
Yeah? Do you know you're on camera? Say hi. Look into the camera right there, Claire. No, the camera's right there, Claire. Oh, you see the camera? Say hi to Mr. Jordan.
Hi, Mr. Jordan.
Hi, Claire.
Oh, now see, you're the star of the show, Claire. All right, I gotta go. Okay. Mwah. Love you. See you later. Okay. All right. Uncle Terry's doing a podcast. I think I'll go hop on because she knows I'm not going to tell her no. Anyway, because I talk all that trash. I'm a punk when it comes to her, man. I'm just like a big old soft gooey punkiness. But anyway, I know punkiness is not a word. What the hell are we talking about? Oh yeah, no, but I mean, I and you're right. They are wrong, but also, Jordan, they're on an alien planet where they have to assimilate, and if you find out who they are, like if it got out that they were really here, they're all dead. I mean, let's think about the time. This is 1995. Nobody's progressive enough to accept the fact that aliens exist.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? They're dead. Yeah. They are public enemy number one if they are found out. So I get that. No, none of their hands are clean, but I mean, nobody's hands are clean in war. And look, it happens, man. That happens in every war. You might not hear about it, but innocent bystanders are gonna die, bro. That just, you know what I mean?
Here's an interesting plot point.
Okay.
That has not been like brought up in the 20-30 years since Captain Marvel happened, all the way up to when Secret Invasion and the Marvels happened.
Okay.
Is Talos takes the form of Samuel L. Jackson's boss, of Nick Fury's boss.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what happened to his boss?
Oh, I didn't think about that.
When I first saw this movie, that was the first question I had. And in the 30 years of MCU world building they've done since then, they have not mentioned that. He makes a slight hint later on about like, oh, maybe I should keep the form of your boss. But then I'm like, where's your boss?
He's probably
Malibu?
Dead. Yeah. He's probably dead somewhere. Yeah. Yeah. Well, not necessarily, because when they arrive on the beach, they assimilate some surfer people and they don't kill them. Yeah. So they don't necessarily have to kill, but you're right. I mean, where is this? I mean, yeah. Where'd the guy go? That's a good point. It's a good point. I didn't think about that, but yeah, man, I thought I love some of the fight scenes. I really did. I enjoyed the whole fight on the train, especially when she takes on the older lady, and the crowd's like not having it. They're like, "You're not," because they don't realize what's going on. And this old lady is swinging around poles and fighting her, and then when Carol gets her down and start punching her, they're like, "No, you're not gonna do that," and they hold her back, and then she gets out and transforms into somebody else. And I would have thought there, like, that's kind of where they kind of let it, like, I would have thought they would have responded like, oh, you know what I mean? I thought that I would have, to me, there would have been a bigger shock from the crowd. Like, oh my God, did you just see that? And they all just kind of sat there stunned, like, oh, that to me was a little bit of a miss, because human nature, if you've never seen Aliens, and you see some dude transform in front of you, you're going to get a reaction, dude. You are definitely going to get a reaction. People are going to be all over the place. Some people are going to be religious zealots. Some people are going to lose it. Some people are going to throw up. But you're going to get responses, right? And we really didn't get anything there. But I did like the whole fight scene. I like the fact that they were fighting on top of the train. And then as the bridge is coming, she does her blast and jump down in the train and gets off and can't find them. You know what I mean? Because if it's one place you don't want to be into it with the scroll, it's at a train station, because they can just assimilate all over the place. You know, you're never gonna find them, right? So I did enjoy that. I did enjoy that. I tell you what else I enjoyed. To me, there was a natural rapport between Brie and Samuel L. Jackson. I thought they really had great chemistry from the get. Just, you know, he's like, well, I'll tell you what, you know, there's somebody here that crashed into a Blockbuster that they were dressed for laser tag. And she's like, oh, yeah, well, you know, I'm hunting Scree. And he's like, Scree. And he's getting ready to laugh. And I tell you what, you're under arrest. And she moves him out of the way and fires a blast. And it's just this whole repartee that they have. It's entertaining to watch. They had a natural chemistry on screen. Talk to us about that, Jordan. Talk to us about that chemistry and their interaction specifically on screen.
This is probably my favorite part of the whole movie is their relationship and their interactions that they have. Even to the end of the movie where he basically gives her name, Captain Marvel.
Yep.
And then he starts singing about the Marvelettes.
Yeah. And he was pretty much
Mr.
on
Postman.
tune. He was pretty much on tune.
I love that. I love that song.
Yeah.
It's as soon as he started singing it, I was like, ooh, wait a minute, Mr.
Wait
Postman.
a minute, Mr. Postman. Yeah. I can dig it.
I love that whole scene. I love their conversations in the car again when Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls is playing.
Yep.
When they're driving to the government headquarters, which there's a few moments throughout this movie that I'm like, oh, that's convenient. Oh, that's convenient.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's convenient. Nick Fury knows the exact location of this this place, or no, that Nick Fury knows exactly where they're going and where Captain Marvel needs to go, and they're gonna stop everything to go see this. And oh, by the way, he's a part of S.H.I.E.L.D. and he's gonna flaunt that everywhere. Yeah. But yet nobody knows who S.H.I.E.L.D. is. 15 years later. Yeah. So because Iron Man takes place in 2010, even though it came out in 2008. Yeah. But I love their chemistry. The whole conversation in the bar about like determining like how
they
can tell
or are not.
I will say that while I like the conversation and the dialogue, it doesn't make a lot of it didn't make sense the first time I saw it, and to this day, and it annoys me. Two things. One, her asking, "How do I know you're not a Skrull?" and then him just telling her things like that. If he could still be a Skrull and just making up crap,
how would she know? Right, that was my thing. Like, did she look him up? Did she look up his credentials?
Exactly. It didn't make sense. And then two, this one drives me nuts because it's so false. He says, "I won't eat a sandwich if it's cut diagonally."
Yeah.
Even though he clearly does that in a movie that came out 5 years earlier in Avengers Age of Ultron. He makes the whole sandwich, cuts it diagonally, and eats it. Now, a lot of people think that was a Skrull.
Maybe he had grown to that point, right? Maybe because clearly in Age of Ultron, that's after this, right? That takes place. So maybe, look it, I'm 55. There are things that I eat now I wouldn't have touched in my 20s or 30s. And he's clearly a young man. So maybe that was just a maturation of what you like. You know what I mean? I don't know. I used to hate Subway. I can eat Subway now. I was never a fan of soup. I eat soup all the time, as you well know. So, we evolve. Or he could have been a Skrull. I don't know. It's a thought.
It's just so it's such a random, it's a funny random thing to say that if that thing in Age of Ultron didn't happen, I'd be like, that's hilarious to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then for it, like, if he had said, I can't eat a sandwich that's cut horizontally or diagonally, I'd be like, or horizontally or vertically, I'd be like, okay. I would be like, okay, all right, that's interesting. And then we see it happen in Age of Ultron, and we go back and watch it. It's like, all right, that's a cool payoff.
Yeah.
But now it's like the thing, and it's because what's so funny about that scene in Age of Ultron is all of the Avengers and Samuel L. Jackson are, I keep Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson, they're the same person in my opinion.
Yeah.
They are having this serious conversation with how to deal with Ultron, and we have Hawkeye throwing darts with Tony. We have Nick Fury making a sandwich in the kitchen, and they're all in Hawkeye's home. Like, it's such a funny scene, and it would have been such a cool payoff, but going back and looking at it, but it just makes no sense now. And a lot of people to this day think that he was a Skrull in that scene, or that in the movie. And I'm like, if he is a Skrull in this movie, the whole I don't like the idea that we are going back and saying and characters are Skrulls. I don't like it. In fact, we don't really know if Rhodey we don't know how long Rhodey was a Skrull for after the events of the Secret Invasion. And there's some people who are like, oh, he's in a hospital gown and can't walk. Like, it's possible he's been a Skrull since Civil War. And I'm like, you're telling me that heartbreaking moment at the end of Avengers Endgame that was making me cry my eyes out.
That was
and he was a Skrull. In fact, I look at the scene in Endgame very differently, and everybody says, like, we're gonna look at Endgame and Infinity War very differently, because if he's in fact a Skrull during this time, then we just don't care about him. Like, he could have died, and if Rhodey actually died in, like, Infinity War and Endgame, and then we found out he was a Skrull during that time, I would have felt more impacted. I would have been like, okay, that makes sense. But if he was a Skrull during emotional scenes, like the conversation he has with Nebula, the very small one, when they're going to get the Infinity Stones, I'm like, I look at those little scenes so differently. So, I don't even know. Getting back to it's a stupid sandwich, and it's so stupid and silly, but it's continuity. There, like, if he says, like, to your point, that, like, he's grown out of that, or that was a phase or something like that. If he just mentions it or something, like, as simple as, like, he's hanging out with, if in the Marvels he's making another sandwich, because that's all Nick Fury does is kill people and make sandwiches, is he makes a sandwich and Carol's like, why are you eating your sandwich diagonally? And he would have been like, oh, I grew out of it. That would have been a nice payoff.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that payoff, and it's so silly and stupid. It's
playing
an itch
with your mind, buddy.
It's
an playing with your mind. It's in the back of your head, just playing tennis. No, I get it. You know what's interesting? What if Natasha was a Skrull? What if the whole my soul has to go to this place? What if she was a Skrull?
I don't think we would have gotten the stone then. I think that she would have died just to die, and I don't think that, because you have to give something of which you love, and I don't, because that's technically not Natasha, I don't think this
but
because it's not her soul.
A part of the Skrulls being who they are is they have to believe that they are that person. But they have to love who their hosts love. They got to be all in. That's a part of who they are, right?
But it's not her soul at the end of the day. Like, you could believe it's her.
That's fair.
It would be like throwing an AI version of, if you threw an AI version of Natasha over that cliff, it's got everything, her memories, her everything, but it doesn't have her soul. And yeah, I would like that, because I personally, I love Scarlett Johansson. I loved her as her Black Widow. And I feel like I'm missing that since Endgame. And her death, I think, impacted between hers and Tony's, like Tony's death. I know we're talking about Endgame because basically this movie connects so much to the importance of both movies. Is like Tony's death. It was the culmination of this entire saga, and it made sense. I knew Captain America or Iron Man were going to die going into this movie.
Yeah.
And it kind of felt like Captain America died, but he was just retiring, so it was less like in your face. But with Black Widow's death, that one, I was just, that hurt, because I mean, I knew how much Scarlett Johansson loved doing these movies. I loved the behind the scenes interactions between all the original Avengers actors, and seeing her, that was a gut punch that I didn't expect. I never expected it. So, like, I think we are feeling the impacts to this day of her not being in here. And I mean, it ended up impacting Hawkeye. It ended up impacting her sister,
the Hulk,
and eventually the Thunderbolts, the Hulk. Like, it impacted so many of the characters post Endgame, and Tony's death really only impacted two characters to this point that have been released, and that's Spider-Man and Ironheart.
Yeah.
So,
I think they both. Let me tell you something. As far as the team is concerned, she was Mama Hen. She kept everything going. She kept them all together. She was the heart of the Avengers. And when she left, you're right, that hasn't been replaced since. But Tony, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be honest with you. I cried real tears when Tony died. I was sad.
I do it every time I watch that movie.
When she died. But when Tony died, that crushed my soul. Like, I couldn't believe it, because I'm sitting up here thinking, this is an Avengers movie. What the hell are you doing, T. Will? What is wrong with you? Get it together. You're somebody's dad. Get your shit together. But they just start crumbing down my face. And especially when Spider-Man is like, Mr. Stark, he's like, come on, Mr. Stark. Like, this is his idol. This is, for all intents and purposes, Iron Man is his dad, or makeshift dad, or whatever dad you want to call. And to see him, he's so excited, and he's like, "We won! You won! We won!" And to see him go from excitement to just, oh God, that, whew, that, and you're right. As far as the team is concerned, that, losing Natasha, it ripped through all of them. But I just felt like, especially the fans, it started with Iron Man. And when he left, that, to this day, when I watch that, I gotta fight it back a little bit. You know what I mean? I gotta choke it back a little. I gotta let me get me a little stronger. I got to choke it back a little bit, because it is, and I don't know why that is, Jordan. I don't know. I mean, I know it's coming.
It's the culmination of all those years. I mean, with Tony, you saw him in 3 Iron Man movies, all the Avengers movies. You saw him in Spider-Man: Homecoming. You saw him in end credit scenes for other movies. You saw him in Civil War. Like, you've seen him in so much, and that was why everybody wanted a Black Widow movie. Is like, and by the time we got a Black Widow movie too late. If that movie came out right after Civil War, right before Civil War, probably
it'd be $1 billion movie.
War, it would be really good, and I can't wait
be $1 billion
to get to Black Widow. Yeah, because I like Black Widow. I personally, I really like it. A lot of people don't, because if you're watching it in the release order, it feels out of place. But if we go back and watch it how we're watching it, we're going to look at the movie completely different. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, and look, they're still hurt. You know, they're still, say what you will. Wanda was the Avengers. She was that team. Because the quirky part about her is she is the kind of person that can look you in your face, have a full-fledged conversation with you, knowing she's about to kill you, and do it and be perfectly fine with it. Right? And if you're going to have a team like the Avengers, you got to have people like that. It seems cold, but you got to have people that, number one, are willing to follow the orders that you give them, be they politically correct or not. And number two, have absolute belief and absolute fealty. Even in Civil War, her objective is really to try to keep the team together. Because although she fights against Cap, she tells Black Panther, but I never told you I'd help you capture him, right? Why? Because she realizes the bigger thing is keeping the team together, right? Anyway, whatever. I don't know how we got on the Avengers, but
we're sidetracking. That's how bad this movie is.
Let's get back to it. So let's talk about character arcs, man. Carol Danvers goes from amnesiac soldier defined by others to fully self-aware hero, balancing humanity with cosmic power, and I agree with that. And the other thing I liked about it is that there's a clear delineation of right and wrong here, right? There's a clear look at these people are refugees. It was, if you close your eyes for a second, you can kind of see some real world scenarios play out. I'm gonna leave that right there because I want to keep my show on YouTube. I'm just saying you can kind of see that, but she ultimately goes with her heart. And you know, the scene where she says to Talos's wife, "I am so sorry, I did not know," was very heartfelt, very earnest. And Talos says to her, "Look, it's war. We both have blood on our hands, but at the end of the day, you guided me to my family. We're good, right? We're good." I really enjoyed her character arc, right? I did. I enjoyed. I really did. If it's one thing about this movie, it's the development of the characters, because I thought it was neat to see pre-Avengers Nick Fury. Like pre-Avengers Nick Fury, like who he used to be. You know, and the fact that he was always kind of a rebel, you know what I mean? He's always going to do things his way. I kind of like that. So Nick Fury goes from mid-level SHIELD agent, inspired leader, changed forever by Carol's example. And Talos was initially presented as a villain, or I'd like to call him maybe a red herring. But he was revealed as a sympathetic father, subverting Skrull bad expectations. And I thought they did a great job of that, because at the beginning of the movie, you kind of hate him, like, oh. And then when you really get to see him, and I think this is an example that nobody is 100% bad, right? And nobody's 100% good. We are all, I mean, okay, few people. There are a few that maybe are 98% good and 98% bad, but most of us are somewhere in between, right? And I think this encapsulates that. But let's talk about your thoughts on their character arcs specifically.
I mean, I'll go to Nick Fury first. I mean, he kind of learns. He learns so much by this.
He does.
This movie,
he really
that
does.
He ends up pushing into the Avengers initiative to push the Avengers into certain directions. You see that rebel side we end up seeing in Captain America: The Winter Soldier. We end up seeing it throughout in Age of Ultron. We see it in Secret Invasion. I've already talked too much about Secret Invasion. Because I hate that more than this. But he does such a great job with his character arc. Carol, I'm gonna leave Carol for last. Talos, a great example, like you were saying. In my opinion, Talos's character arc is the most human character arc of the whole movie, and it's ironic because he's visually the most alien-like.
Yeah,
and that's what makes this whole movie so good.
Yeah.
Or not this movie. His whole character arc so good. Yeah. I don't know about the whole movie being so good. But yeah, Carol. I don't know. Carol. The amnesia part, I think, carries her character arc a lot. Because I think if you take out the character arc, I think it really is a plot device for Carol in this movie, because I wouldn't even call it a character arc. It's just she didn't even know who she was.
Right.
And she's finding out who she is. So,
right.
I mean, inherently it is a character arc, but I feel like the amnesia really pushed the character arc into that direction. Like, you knew that because she had amnesia, that you knew how this movie was going to end for her. That she was going to regain most, if not all, of her memories, which she ended up doing. So, and I will say, the one character arc that I think they tried to do, and I don't think they did well with it, was you see this in the final battle against the AI, their like supreme intelligence, that like you see past iterations of her like standing up and staring at the camera, and I lost my train of thought because that whole montage is like the whole montage for me just felt corny. Even though I like the idea, I guess, but the execution maybe wasn't great.
That montage felt like an 80s movie. That montage, that particular order of sequence or whatever, felt like I was watching Rocky 7. Felt like, you are who you say you are. That's right. You can take it on, Apollo. Yeah. That's what that felt like. But I gotta be honest, we're already in the 80s. Or in the 90s, whatever, same difference. I'm 55. So I was okay with that. It was a little Saturday morning cartoonish, kind of campy, kind of, we know how this is gonna happen. Yeah, it was. But for me, it worked, right? I because I'm gonna tell you something. When I first watched it, I thought, God, she is so stiff. But thinking about if you found out your entire existence was a lie, right? You'd be a little distant, at least while you're going through it, right? So it kind of made the disconnection, the snarky remarks, the stoic nature for me more palatable. It made it more digestible because I could understand she doesn't know who to trust right now, right? But I tell you what it did for me. It made those snarky interactions funny. Okay, so when she finally goes to take on Jude Law's character, she's almost prancing. Like, to me, that was funny. And I did not see that before, but it's like, I'm gonna kick your ass my way, right? So she and this was I'm spoiler. This is one of my favorite scenes, but you know she takes on is it Romulus? Not Romulus. Ronan and his forces, and I love that because she comes up and looks at him like, "What you want to do, man? What you want to do? Y'all gonna make me lose my mind up in here, up in what you want to do? Okay, I've just destroyed one of your vessels. You can play with me if you want to. Same fate is going to befall you." And Ronan's like, you know what? Let's do the time jump. Let's get out of here. Like, let's leave. Okay. Clearly, she came to play today. Let's leave. And she comes back, and Jude Law recognizes, okay, she's gonna kick my ass. So I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try and manipulate her one more time. I tell you what. Let's don't do the thing with your hands. Let's just fight. You know, and if you can really beat me, then and she goes, you know what? Which to me was reminiscent of Indiana Jones when the guy has the swords or whatever, and he's giving, and Indiana Jones just shoots him like that. You know, that was funny. And she could have flown over there to him, but she doesn't. She takes her time and saunters over there, Jordan. Like she's kind of sassy, you know what I mean? And I thought that was funny. Because
you brought the word back.
I did. I timed it well, bro. I'll be honest with you. I thought about that last night when I was watching it. I was like, I'm gonna drop it on him. I did. But she kind of saunters over there, takes her time, and she's like, I don't have anything to prove to you. You know what I mean? I don't. This is what you're gonna do. And she tells him exactly. She's like, you're not going to go back empty-handed. You're going to tell them a warning. You're going to tell them I'm coming, and I'm going to stop this war. And you have a good day. Closes that thing, provides the ignition for the vehicle, and sends him on his way. I love that scene, Jordan. I thought that was hilarious. Give me your thoughts on that scene.
I like that interaction, and it makes total sense. I don't like that's the end of our climax of this movie, because it felt like I was missing every time I finish this movie, I feel like the ending just kind of drops off, and I feel like I'm missing something, like I'm missing one final battle. I mean, Captain Marvel is inherently the one. I mean, at this point, is the most powerful being, and she's obviously can go through warships and stuff like that. So I felt like this ending just kind of fell flat for me. Okay. Even though I like this scene, but it should have led to something else. The events that we see at the end of, or at the beginning of the Marvels, is what we should have seen at the end of this movie. In that, we should see Captain Marvel go to the Kree planet and destroy the sun, but then see the after effects of that. That's what should lead to the Marvels, and because that was one issue I had with the Marvels. It felt like the third movie of a Captain Marvel trilogy, and we never got the second movie. Like, Captain Marvel feels like the first one, the Marvels feels like the third one, but it feels like we're missing a movie in between the two of them. And I think even if you didn't, and you just put that issue that Captain Marvel has after, I mean, basically the whole plot point of the Marvels, you could throw that at the end of this movie and it would play well, because you could see her like going through everything. But even then, I look at the Marvels and I have an issue. One of my main issues with the Marvels is Captain Marvel, because it's like, you're a psychopath to destroy a sun when you know there's innocent lives on this planet. Again, it goes back to like the Skrulls and Kree are killing innocent people for this war, Captain Marvel's doing the same. What we know in the Marvels, Captain Marvel does the exact same thing. So, this ending just it felt sort of flat, and Ronan obviously got recasted, but
he did, yeah.
I don't care that he got recast. In fact, I think the guy who voices him, I think he does a fantastic job of replicating the other guy's voice. But the makeup's not even close to the same.
Yeah,
like they didn't even try. He looks like part of the Blue Man Group.
Yeah, he does. He does.
They really didn't even try for getting the makeup right at all.
Yeah.
That I don't like at all. So and it annoys me every time I watch it because I'm like, the makeup was so good in Guardians of the Galaxy, and that's one thing James Gunn does. We know James Gunn will do great in everything. He's going to find the best makeup people. But this movie, the makeup person just took a day off or something, and they hired the Blue Man Group to spray paint him. And the little line of dialogue that I knew he was going to say it too when I first saw this movie. And the little henchman guy is or he's like, we'll be back for the weapon. And I as soon as he said that, I was like, I knew exactly what he was going to say. And the henchman's like the Tesseract or something like that. I don't remember what he was alluding to. And he's like, no, the woman. And I'm like, all right. Okay. And by the way, that leads to nothing ever. You could have taken that out, thrown it in the trash, put it in the recycle bin, deleted it out of the recycle bin, and wouldn't matter at all.
Nobody would have been the one. Yeah.
And because that could have been your sequel to this movie, is something like pre-Guardians of the Galaxy. You could have had the events of the Marvels taking place before Guardians of the Galaxy, maybe in like 2005, and you could have had Ronan as the villain, and because Ronan was a pretty good villain in Guardians of the Galaxy, I think the Infinity Stone kind of enhanced him, but I thought he was okay, and you could have made that the whole plot point of Captain Marvel too.
Yeah,
but again, a movie that we never got. So, the ending just for me pretty flat. I will say one thing I do like a lot about this movie is the way they showcase her power, her powers around her, the cosmic energy around her.
Yeah,
and I think that's really cool. Yep. And if you're looking at it, like creates its own aura in that person, in the same way that we see the other Marvels in the Marvels, that we see Miss Marvel, that we see Photon, we see their powers. They have the same similar style, so it makes them all three of them work well in terms of connecting them into the movie. Agreed. So that is one thing I really like about this movie, is the way they showcased her cosmic energy.
Agreed 100%. Let's talk about some of the themes in this movie. Obviously, identity and self-discovery is a big part of Carol Danvers' journey. I thought it was cool that her name was Beers the entire time, and we find out that was the only part of her dog tag that was. I thought that was kind of cool because that made sense as to why they called her that. Because they're not human. They wouldn't know. They're just, our name's Veers. They wouldn't know, right? Yeah. Empowerment, breaking free from gaslighting and control. I mean, whatever. Trust and perspective. The Kree versus the Crow conflict is flipped. Challenging the good versus bad binary. Okay. Female strength and representation. A rare female lead MCU origin story. For me, the main part of this movie is doing the right thing when the right thing is not popular. It is a lot to me like Civil War when Tony says to Cap, we need to be put in check. And Cap says, I've seen what happens when people do this, and it's never good. And I can't just go along with it, Tony. This feels like internment. And that's a big, big rift. And Cap could have easily just gone along with it, but he's 95 years old and he's seen some things, right? And it is difficult sometimes to go against the big bad machine, right? For me, that is the central theme of this movie, is that when she finds out that she's been lied to, right? Because make no mistake about it, it would be, there are a lot of people who, even in the face of that, would still go along with the Kree objective because they've been socialized to do it, right? Because they've been educated to do it, because it is a part of their upbringing, because it is a part of, dare I say, tradition, right? And flying in the face of that and going against that takes courage. It does. It takes courage. I love the speech that Sharon gives in Civil War when she's talking about her aunt who passed, when she tells Cap in no uncertain terms, pick a line and stand to it. If you know that what you're doing is right, you know what I mean? Do all you can. But if you know what you're doing is right, then stand on it. Stand on it. Stand 10 toes down on it. I'm paraphrasing. But to me, this is the central theme of this movie, is the fact that she was willing to go along with the Skrulls, to go along with the enemy, because ultimately they were on the side of right, and that's what being a hero is all about, right? I agree with you. If you can avoid killing innocents, you do that. But a lot of times, and that's, you know, that's kind of, for me, X-Men helped me to grow up. Because Avengers was one thing, X-Men was I'm all over the place today, but anyway, X-Men was a comic book where they took on adult themes. So sometimes you had good guys do bad stuff for a good reason. Still bad stuff, right? Still bad stuff. And this is the polar opposite, but I get what you're saying when you say the Krees really and the Skrulls killed innocent people. That happens in war. But I really like that, because I missed that the first time I saw this, Jordan. And maybe, I don't know, maybe I was agitated. The one thing I'm realizing about myself, I'm not a very patient person, Jordan. I'm really not. You know, when it comes to movies, if I'm being honest, I'm kind of an asshole. Because if it doesn't jump out to me right away, I'm like, and you know, when I really sat down and took the time. Now, I'm going to be honest. When we get to the Eternals, whew, Jordan, I'm gonna need some liquor. We might have to watch that movie together.
If you feel this different about this movie, I think you're gonna feel completely different about Eternals. That's my belief.
I probably will. Okay, but I'm still gonna need some liquor. I'm just going on record and saying I'm still gonna need some liquor, and the presentation for that may have some misspelled words. I'm just saying. No, I'm just kidding. Give me your thoughts on the theme of this movie and what resonated with you.
I mean, the overt one that is, again, along with the 90s stuff and the punch in the face, is the female empowerment. I don't think this was the right way to do female empowerment. This, like... And people point at Captain America as like a male empowerment thing. The difference is a huge difference, because Steve Rogers was this scrawny little kid who didn't have anyone in his life, and he had to fend for himself. And he had a voice, but no one was listening, and because he looked the way he did. And finally, when he gets the body to match his voice, then people are taking him seriously. And even then, people are still not listening to him. And he has to go do the basically circus act. He has to be a circus act before he actually stands up for himself. And with Captain Marvel, it's like, I never felt. The only part I felt bad for her is that she lost her memory, and she can't trust anyone. Yeah, that is a completely different in turn. And they tried to feed us like her going through issues growing up and stuff like that through flashbacks, and for me, I flashbacks don't work. If they did that with Captain America, it wouldn't have worked. The flashbacks just don't work for me. And we have a prime example of a great Marvel movie with a great female empowerment, a great lead in the Thunderbolts. We have a prime example of that in basically anything Wanda has ever done. Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda. We got a great one with Black Widow. Anything that Scarlett Johansson has done as Black Widow. And I don't think they've done that right with Captain Marvel. But I think they've done that with I think they've done that great with a lot of other female characters. Because you don't need to punch us in the face with it. Yeah. You can be a strong, independent woman without showing that she's strong and independent.
Right.
It's a literal, like they were trying to literally to do it instead of going through the motions.
Right.
So that's maybe, and some people are going to have issues with that. I get that. And that's why I bring up that Marvel has done female leads great.
Good point.
And in a similar instance, you see why. All right, for example, with male, and the best way I can describe Captain Marvel is the way that John Walker is done in the Thunderbolts.
Mm-hmm.
I personally don't care about John Walker. I do not care about him. And for some reason, after Thunderbolts came out, there was all these people on the internet saying this guy should have been Captain America. That's literally not the point. Sam Wilson is Captain America. Let me stare straight into the camera. Sam Wilson is Captain America. Okay. John Walker's not. There's a reason he's U.S. agent and not Captain America because he can't handle that. Right. And like Captain America, Sam Wilson, those are the Black Widows. Those are the Wandas. Like those are characters and stories done right, showing that individual character's or strength, not literally but figuratively. And with Captain Marvel, I feel the same way about. I feel very similarly about Captain Marvel in that it's more of showcasing it rather than seeing a character fall, struggle, and then pick themselves back up.
Yeah.
It's like with this movie, we're seeing the picking themselves up, but we never saw the fall and struggle.
Yeah. No,
they tried to do with flashbacks. They tried to do that.
They did. I mean, I guess you could argue that her losing it, but no, we don't see her fall. We don't. Yeah. We see her. It's an automatic ascension, right?
Yeah.
And so you're right about that. You are
like
right.
The amnesia, like if you think of it as like a fall, struggle, and then picking up. We follow Captain Marvel right towards like the end of the struggle. Like we don't see her struggle, and we see her struggle with the amnesia, and untrusting, and from then on, it's there's no downward spiral. We don't see that downward trend. We just pick up at that point, and then it's just an.
I guess if I'm playing devil's advocate, that's kind of like women in management in the workplace. They can't take the same path as men. You know what I mean? Like they can't. There's certain things they won't survive that a man would, right? So if you're looking at it through that lens, right? They can never be emotional in a situation. They can't, oh, she's emotional, she can't handle. So if you're looking at it from that standpoint, I get it now. From the typical storyline, agreed with you. It's all ascension. We don't see her struggle. And, the true definition of equality is I got to treat you as a woman like a hero the same way I treat you like a man. So I get it, but I also get what they were trying to say. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, like I get what they were trying to say, and like that's why we need that fall.
Yeah.
Because then we start to relate to that character.
Yeah.
I relate. I mean, we had the Thunderbolts review. You and I were both relating to that movie quite a bit.
Yep.
Like because of that fall, we see that fall. Florence Pugh's character, or we see her fall, and then we see her struggle, and then we see her pick herself back up, and that's what's so beautiful about her character arc. And in my opinion, it is one of the best character arcs in any Marvel movie ever. Mm-hmm. I would say it's so much better than even Natasha and Black Widow. With Natasha, Black Widow, we already saw her. We saw her fall throughout many times throughout the MCU. Yeah, and we saw her struggle throughout that time. Mm-hmm. And we see her pick herself back up by the end of Black Widow. Mm-hmm. And then we see her fall again in Infinity War Endgame, struggle in that, and then pick herself up before sacrificing herself for her family. And that fall is so important in a character arc. And it's when we get to Iron Man, that is a easy example of a fall struggle, pick oneself back up, because it's very clear, blunt, and obvious how he goes through all of that. Because that's kind of what we see. That's what Batman, the Dark Knight trilogy, kind of throws at you with all three movies.
I was born in the dark. I love Batman the Dark Knight. All right, so hey man, we have this thing where I wear shirts that have nothing to do with it, and you wear a jersey that is connected to the movie at some point. So I need you to talk about your San Francisco 49ers jersey and how it connects to this movie. We are at that point in the podcast. So let's do it.
I mean, it's the 94 49ers. It was the 90s. I got a 91 Bulls champions hat on.
Okay.
It's the 90s.
Okay. Yeah, we're going right.
Yeah.
I see you. Okay.
So it's subtle. There's not much I could pull from this because the 90s references are so punch in your face, and I'm like, I have nothing to work with. Like I thought about wearing my Morton Anderson Saints jersey, but we're in NFL season, so you won't be seeing me wear an Eagles or Saints jersey for the rest of the season. So
you're superstitious when it comes to that? Oh, okay, I get it. I know why. Yeah. Okay, I know why. That makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. Sorry. Okay, well, that's still great, man. I mean, look, they were champions of the 90s. I know that you have a thing. I still say, hey man, that's great. I like that you do that because I think it's fun. Like I look forward to it. Every time we do one of these movies, I'm like, okay, what's he gonna wear today? So I think that's cool, man. I really do. Let's talk about 3 favorite scenes. Now, I have 4. Okay, I have 4. And the one I'm going to talk about is the one I've already talked about, and that is where she takes on Jude Law's character, because really this is her mentor, right? This is like Luke taking on Darth Vader the second time and winning. She could never beat him. And I just thought the way that they did that was just so funny. Again, the sass, the whole sass in that scene to where she's like, you know what? I'm going to do this my way. Pew! Okay. He's like, let's go. Let's fight with our fists. And she's like, I ain't got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Pew! Right? And blast him 2 miles away and takes her time walking over there. You know how confident you got to be? Like, I'm going to hit you so hard, I know by the time I walk over there, because it's going to take me 20 minutes, 15 minutes, you're just going to be getting up because I hit you that hard. You know how confident you got to be to do that? Like, I thought that was cool. I thought it was great. I thought it was funny. When she removes the inhibitor chip and finally realizes, you know, she has that He-Man moment, I have the power. I thought that was pretty cool. You know what I mean? And especially when the great intelligence realizes, oh, shit, it's about to go down. Wait a minute. She's way more powerful than what we thought. The whole Goose the cat thing was funny because the whole time they're telling Samuel, you might not want to keep him on your lap. You might not want to keep him on your lap. And when he scratches him on his eye, it's like, oh, it's nothing. And Talos is like, no, it's something. He's like, it'll be all right. He's like, no, it won't. No, it's like they all know, right? They all know. I thought, like, I enjoyed the cat scenes because the cat was kind of, he's like a cat. He's moody, right? So he kills people, and then all of a sudden they show up, and he doesn't kill them, and he's sitting there, and he's waiting, and he's like, you're just so moody or whatever. You know, and then at the end, of course, he vomits up the Tesseract. I just thought that was really cool. I thought that was fun. And then, of course, a lot of the Nick Fury and Carol 90s bonding scenes were great. It really did have kind of like that 80s, 90s buddy cop chemistry. It felt like that. This felt like a movie you would see in the 80s or 90s. Not just with the overt in-your-face stuff, but with the montage sequence. A lot of the way they relate to each other, it just felt like that. And maybe that's why when I really looked at it, I enjoyed it because I grew up in the 80s and 90s. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But those were my favorite scenes. Let's talk about if there are 3 favorite scenes, what are they for you?
Well, before I get to my 3 favorite, I will say, since Captain America Winter Soldier, Nick Fury said in that movie, he's like, the last time I trusted someone, I lost an eye.
Right.
And everybody was like, oh, how'd that happen? How did that happen? And this payoff sucked, in my opinion. As much as I love Goose the cat in this, the Flurkin, loved him. And I knew they were gonna do it after, because towards the beginning, I guess he has something. I guess in the crash earlier in the movie,
got something over his eye.
And I was like, he's gonna lose his eye and somehow in this movie. And it's just not. It makes that whole scene in Captain America: The Winter Soldier just like, why? Okay, you trusted a cat,
right?
There
was no betrayal there.
Yeah,
you know, there wasn't this big grandiose, interaction. It was just a cat that you pissed off because you really shouldn't have been in his face because cats are moody anyway.
Yes, never get into a face with a cat unless you love them, unless they are really nice. I have one cat specifically is basically a dog. I can carry it. I can do whatever with her. And I have another cat that I have another cat that I tread lightly with. But my 3 favorite scenes, the one that sticks out to me every time I watch this movie, and it also, there's a shift in the camera. It goes to a widescreen, and it's right after they find out how Carol got her powers. Like, they're listening to the black box or
the black box tape. The recording.
They're listening to the recording right after that, where Carol walks out and she's just she realizes the truth of everything. And it feels like her whole life has been betrayed. And like, even Talos is like, you didn't know. Like, it's okay. And you see Maria Rambeau
really comfort her.
Yes, this whole movie for me, I just don't feel like I'm ever sucked into the movie. But this scene specifically sucks me into the movie because
yes.
It was like this. It was like this specific scene was directed by someone else. Yeah, and I really enjoy. That is my clear favorite scene of the whole movie.
Yeah.
I love the writing for it. Man.
Yeah.
Visually, it looks like Louisiana, because I mean that's another reason why I wanted to wear a Saints jersey for this, is because they're in. Oh wait, I think no wait, maybe they aren't. Where are they at?
I have no idea. You got
because the house looks like it's in New Orleans, like New Orleans, Louisiana. I get that vibe from it. Yeah. But I love that scene. My next favorite's probably when Nick and Carol at the end of the movie having that interaction.
Yeah. Where she's like, emergencies only.
Yes.
And he does the whole Marvel scene. Yeah, that was cool.
Especially with the Marvelettes. Mr. Postman, I love that. I love that so much.
And he was on key. He was on key. That's what impressed me. He was on key. Yeah.
He was. I love that scene. Yeah. And my third favorite is, I want it to be the Blockbuster, but it's not. I love Blockbuster. I have movies still from Blockbuster.
What?
Like I have DVDs.
You didn't return them, Jordan. You didn't return them.
This was at the end where you could buy them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, so I want it to be that so bad, but it's not. We didn't sit in Blockbuster that long. Maybe my next favorite is, it's got to be something with Goose. I love he's just, if you don't have Goose in this movie, there's some sort of character in the non-character with Goose.
And the unpredictability of him.
Yes.
And the whole mythos with everybody, like, that's not a cat. Yeah. That's not a cat. Like that. Yeah. I did enjoy that. I did enjoy that. I'll tell you one thing about that scene where she just finds out the truth. You know, sometimes you got to go to your friends for them to remind you of who you are. And I really like when she says, you are Carol Danvers, the same person that helped me out being a mom and a pilot when everybody else said I couldn't. You're this, you're that. But you really see her remembering. I like that scene. And I liked the fact that when Monica pulls out all the pictures and you start to see the love in those pictures, and that's what brings her back. That's initially when all of the synapses start firing and she really starts to come back, is when she's like, and this was on this day and this was on this holiday, and you could see that they really were family. I like that. I like that entire element of it. But I love that scene and the way they built up to it, to where she's like, no, ma'am, you're Carol Danvers. You're this, you're that. You insisted on going to that. I love that. And I love the crescendo of the hug, because it felt like, okay, Carol's like, I rock with you. I know who you are now. And she's like, and I knew you were in there, right? I enjoyed that. That was a great thing.
I feel like there's a lot of scenes in this movie that Carol's not remembering, but she's trying to force herself to remember. Yeah. Like, people will tell her, oh, like, do you remember this? And she'll be like, yeah, but she actually doesn't. Especially the one scene that, for me, when she calls Monica Lieutenant Trouble.
Lieutenant Trouble, yeah.
But she just heard in her memory in her memory that got brought up like towards the beginning of the film was when we first saw her call her Lieutenant Trouble. So like I felt every time I hear that it almost rings hollow for me because I don't know if she's remembering or if she's just remembering what happened earlier in the movie. Yeah. And it's like, are you calling her Lieutenant Trouble because you remember, or are you calling her that because that's what you said in the yes. Yeah. And we see that continue to play as an issue for her even in the Marvels, where she tries to remember things and she doesn't remember. That I love that they continued that into the Marvels because I do think there are some scenes in this movie where she's pretending to remember so that everybody else is okay. Yeah. But she actually is not okay. And that was something I really appreciated in the Marvels.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I would definitely agree with that. Yeah. Because I would think that would be, I think that's organic. I think that's a part of it. If you lose, if you are in any sort of situation where you lose a memory, you get tired of people asking you stuff. So you're just, yeah. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So that's organic and I get it. And it makes sense. Let's talk about some criticism. And one of the things that you said, which, you know, a lot of people agree with, is the 90s nostalgia references felt heavy-handed to some audiences. And that's true. Some viewers found it formulaic and safe. Carol was sometimes seen as emotionally flat compared to other MCU heroes. I don't think, again, looking at so here's the thing, right? I know someone who was lied to about their heritage. You would become distrustful. That is authentic. Mm-hmm. So what a lot of people see as emotionally flat, no, she's just numb because she just found out her entire life was a lie and she doesn't know who to trust. That makes sense to me. So I get how in the juxtaposition of other Marvel characters, you could say that, but they don't have her same experience, right? So I disagree with that. Formulaic and safe, I get that. I definitely get the whole 90s nostalgia references. We're at the point where it's criticism. So you got any other one for this movie, or does it pretty much cover it for you?
I don't know if emotionally flat is what I would use. I think the line deliveries. There are certain line deliveries in this movie that every time I watch it, I'm just like, why did she say it like that? Like, like towards the beginning of the movie where she just Talos was in her head trying to find memories and she's running away and all the scrolls are surrounding her and she's got the cuffs around her and she's like, she looks at them and she's like, you guys have any idea how to get these off? No? Okay. Literally just like that. There's no pause in between no? Okay. Like it would have been funny if she said that, started punching a few people, started like attacking her and stuff like that, and then like 10 seconds later saying, no? Okay. Like it's the way it was delivered. Mm-hmm. It's like it didn't make sense. And there's a couple of those. The logo thing that I don't know if we said this at the beginning of this or before, but when she puts on the shield hat and says, "So, you guys put your logos on clothing," and I'm like, "Dude, look at your suit. Right. You have a huge logo right in the middle there.
Right in the middle of it.
It's like what? It doesn't make sense." And some of it is maybe the line delivery. Some of it is how it's written. And it just, there's a lot of things that don't make sense. There's a couple scenes in there where like it's stereotypical movie dialogue where where Samuel Jackson's like, you know, you're glowing, right? And she's like, I'll tell you later. And I'm like, oh, okay, all right, what?
Nobody's gonna take that in that scene. Nobody's gonna be like, yeah, tell me that. No, let's talk about this now. You're glowing.
Yeah,
let's talk about it.
You're flying. So yeah,
when we started this morning, you couldn't fly, and now you just kicked the shit out of an entire armada. We gotta talk about this. Come on.
And
what happened?
I think emotionally flat is something you expect out of a movie where someone is dealing with amnesia. But that's not my criticism. The criticism is the delivery is flat. Very, very, very flat. The formulaic and safe, I totally see that. This was the first movie, in my opinion, and some people will say Doctor Strange was, but there's something aesthetically appeasing about Doctor Strange, which is why it does, in my opinion. I think the story follows the formula, but the delivery was not. And this movie was the beginning of the post-Endgame formula of safe style movies, and that's where this is where it all began. And this and Ant-Man and the Wasp, those two they wanted to be safe in between Infinity War and Endgame, and they went with Ant-Man and the Wasp and this movie, and it's this safe movie because you have two heavy hitters in Infinity War and Endgame, and you needed to play it safe. Because if this movie was not safe and sucked, it would have never made $1 billion. It probably wouldn't have made half of that. And people would have not been looking forward to her character in Endgame.
Yeah.
And in fact, post Endgame, she didn't really matter all that much to the whole story of the movie. She mattered to the climax of the movie.
End. Yeah. To the end.
And that's going to be, here's a sneak peek of our Endgame review. That's my only negative about the whole movie. Yeah. Again, the character of Captain Marvel, Brie Larson, it's just like Disney and Marvel have no idea what to do with a character of that much power.
That's fair. That is fair. That is fair. She is a female Superman.
Yes.
That is fair. But there are just certain moments. Like when you bring up Endgame, there's certain moments that I will take with me forever. One of them is, hey, Cap, on your left. Like in that moment right there, when you realize what is about to happen. Dude, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it.
Yeah.
Because I feel in that moment, I'd kick anybody's ass. I felt like, man, Jordan. When he says, hey, Cap, on your left, and you realize, I'm like, oh, shit. Oh, my freaking God. It is about to go down. And the entire Marvel universe and all their homies show up. Man, every time I think about that, I just get goosebumps. I can't wait for Endgame. I know we're jumping ahead, but I'm just saying, like when you said that, it just reminded me of that scene and everything that is right about Marvel. Everything is right about Marvel. Of all my Marvel heroes, obviously, of all the heroes, period, I identify with Batman. But I aspire to be Captain America. And I aspire to be Captain America because even in the face of Thanos whooping his ass and his shield broke to hell and his uniform all taut and ripped up and whatever, and he's like, I can do this all day, right? And all of a sudden, and you know how Thanos is. Thanos is the devil. He's not going to bring out his forces until he knows he's about to crush you. And he brings all of these forces out just to mess with Captain America because he doesn't have to do that. At that point, Cap's beaten. He could have killed him. But no, he's got to spike the ball. He's got to dance in Cap's face. You know what I mean? He's got to get that 15-yard penalty in the end zone. This is Thanos. He wants to crush Cap's dreams. And in the midst of this, when Cap is like, okay, if I got to take on 1 million of you, I got to take on 1 million of you. But, oh, Jordan, when you hear Cap on your left, woo! All right, man, I'm getting excited. Anyway, let's get back to it. Let's talk about some juxtapositions. This is something new that we're trying, and we're comparing the comic book character with the MCU character. So, origin of powers. In the film, she gets it from the Tesseract powered engine explosion. In the comic, it's a psych magnetron device linked to Captain Marvel that altered her DNA. Okay. In the film, Marvel is Wendy Lawson, a female Kree scientist mentor. In the comics, however, it was a male character, a Kree warrior, who was Carol's ally. Okay. The Avengers connection. In the film, Fury names the Avengers after Carol's Avenger call sign. In the comics, it was a founding triggered by Loki's invasion in 1963. Personality. Now, this is where you really start to see the difference. Her personality in the movie is stoic, it's mission-driven, gradual, and it's an emotional thaw. In the comics, however, she's bold, she's witty, she's more flawed, she's humanized in comic runs, and she is flawed. As a matter of fact, there is a Civil War II in which she plays a big part in this conflict between her, Tony Stark, and Captain America. And it's really juicy too, because there's some things that come out of that we find out later as to why it took place. But definitely personality difference. The era of setting in 1995 in the MCU film ties her absence to being off-world, and then in the comics she debuted in 1968. Marvel Superheroes number 13 became Captain Marvel in 2012. The Skrulls, and we got Miss Carrie in the chat. She says hi, Jordan and T. Will. What's going on, Miss Carrie? Hopefully you're doing well. Good to see you as always, my friend, Miss Carrie. BPE Carrie, Big Penix Energy. Pause.
Yeah.
Skrulls. Let's get back to Skrulls. Sympathetic refugees manipulated by the Kree. In the comics, Skrulls are bad news, man. They're always villains. They're always just bad dudes, man, with nefarious purposes. So, did I miss anything here, or does this pretty much cover it? Anything else you want to throw in there?
Yeah, that pretty much covers it. I mean, like, in the comics, there's so many great storylines with Captain Marvel, and I don't feel like we've touched base on any of them. The one thing with, like, the personality of that, like, if you showed me that personality for the comics, Carol Danvers, and you told me to look for an actress to play Captain Marvel, Brie Larson would be up there.
Yeah.
And we're not seeing it. And that has nothing to do with Brie Larson. It has nothing to do with Captain Marvel either. It has everything to do with who is making this character. Because this is not the Captain Marvel that we know. In my opinion, I think we should get a third Captain Marvel movie. Just to close out a trilogy. I think at this point, all main Marvel characters should get trilogies. But man, there's so many storylines you could go with, and I just don't think we've gotten. I don't think we've gotten the right Captain Marvel, and it sucks because I feel bad for Brie Larson.
I think it's what you said, and they just don't know how to write her. You know.
Yeah.
Carrie says, what is Jordan's record prediction for the Falcons this season? Got to make sure he's still my friend. Laugh out loud. No pressure, Jordan. What you got?
I think
What'd you say? 9-8 or something like that?
I think 8 to 9 wins, somewhere 8 to 9 wins. It was somewhere around there. Yeah.
Okay. That's why you're not a Falcons fan. I get it. And look, we love
all
you.
right. One quick thing I just had two fantasy drafts, right? In one, Bijan fell to me at 5, which was insane. So I want to tell you this: if Bijan sucks this year, I'm going to be the first person to let y'all know. Not only that, in my other draft, I drafted Drake London in the second round because I ended up with Saquon in the first round. So I came back, had 2 picks to wrap around, and I was debating between Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison, and Drake London. I knew I had Garrett Wilson and Marvin Harrison ahead of him, but based off ranking, I'm like, one of them could be there by the time that wraps back around. Well, guess what? I got both of them when I got all 3 of them. And so I have Drake London. So if Michael Penix isn't good and Drake London sucks again, I'll be the first to let y'all know.
Well, let me tell you something. None of that is going to come true. They're going to be great, and you're going to love that you drafted them, Jordan. That's how it's going to go down.
I better win my league. I better win both.
If you don't, it won't be because of them. Let's put it that way. If you don't win your league, it won't be because of those Falcons you drafted. Let's put it that way. Carrie says, I wasn't a big fan of Captain Marvel movie when I saw it in theater. I didn't see the second one. Was it better than the first one? Jordan says, yeah, I would kind of agree with that. In my opinion, it was better.
It's a lot
the second
better.
one was better. But you know, I enjoyed it this time around. Last thing, MCU streamliner backstory, altered key lore. I mean, we basically said that, so we don't have to spend time on that. 10 unknown facts about the movie. Again, another new thing we're doing with this. Goose the cat was portrayed by 4 different cats. Brie Larson is allergic to cats, so puppets via VFX often replace them. Did not know that. Brie Larson did extensive boxing, judo, wrestling training for 9 months. And
it's a requirement at this point for all Marvel characters. Yeah.
Okay.
Outside of Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah. Bro, that's the funniest thing when he went back to 2012. That was funny. This film was dedicated to U.S. Air Force pilot Major Stephen Del Bagno, consultant who died in training. Oh wow, I did not know about that. The working title was Open World. Stan Lee's cameo reading the Mallrats script nods to his real cameo in Kevin Smith's film. A romantic subplot between Carol and young Rogue was considered, but cut. Okay.
Good.
Carol
I wouldn't have liked it. Good.
Carol was originally intended to appear in Avengers Age of Ultron, but was replaced by Scarlet Witch. The MCU's first film with a female composer, Pinar Toprak. Emily Blunt was considered for the role before Larson was cast. Wow. Did not know that.
I think Emily Blunt would have fit this stoic role, but like Emily Blunt would have fit Disney and Marvel's version of Captain Marvel, and in my opinion, it would have been a worse adaptation. I think Emily Blunt is also an amazing actress.
Right.
I've wanted her as Invisible Woman before. But Brie Larson, if on paper, Brie Larson made the most sense to play Captain Marvel, and it's not her fault of how the character is.
It's like you say, good person, wrong role, or in this case, good person, bad writing, or good person, suboptimal writing. I'll put it that way. The Avengers logo homepage homage Fury's file shows Carol's call sign Avenger directly creating the team's name, which we did. So that's good. Carrie also says, I mean, you could have taken all Saints players, Jordan. Just saying.
I took Alvin Kamara.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, what year is he in?
Kamara. It's Kamara, baby. I had him last year. He was awesome last year in fantasy.
Is he walking with a walker yet? Like, I mean, he's kind of old. He's kind of up there. What long in the tooth? No?
He is currently he's never had less than 1,100 scrimmage yards in a single season.
I'm just giving you a hard time. No, he's pretty good. I'm just giving
AK-41, baby.
Whatever. Stop bragging. Whatever. Nobody likes that. Whatever. All right, so it's time for the rating, Jordan. Time for the rating. Time where the rubber meets the road. You want me to go first? You typically do,
Yeah.
right? All right. So initially, when I saw this, I would have given this movie a 4. After careful consideration, and I did watch it twice. Drum roll, please. I'm gonna give it a 5.5. I'm gonna give it a 5.5 because I you know what? Bump that. I'm gonna give it a 6. 5.5, 6. I'm gonna give it a 6. I'm gonna give it a 6. That's where I am with it. What say you, Jordan? What say you?
I obviously don't like this movie. I in fact, when I first saw this movie, I gave it a 7. I gave it a 7 out of 10 the first time I saw it. But it was a fantastic year for movies, and I think I was just riding the wave, and I was very blinded to this movie. Every time I watch it, it gets worse and worse. I don't think it's aging very well. I gave it a 2.5 out of 10.
Damn.
Wow. For me, this is the second. This is going to be the 4th lowest rated movie of our entire rewatch.
That is the lowest one that we've worked on together. I mean, I thought you were going to give it a 4. Damn. Wow.
In fact, I mean, of my last rewatch, this is the only movie I fell asleep. That I had to rewatch it because I fell asleep in the middle of it. I just think I think there's a lot of boring. We're gonna get into a lot of great movies or bad movies with great scenes, and I don't think there's one scene in this movie that I would say is a top 100 scene in all of the movies that we're watching. I'm just, it's kind of boring. I don't think it adds much. It again, that safe nature when we're doing this rewatch ends up being a fault because there's so many great movies, or again, bad movies with great scenes, that it just falls deeper and deeper. And generally speaking, when I give these ratings, it's like, all right, what are the odds that I'm going to put that it's on TV and I'm going to click on it? If this is on TV, I'm probably not going to click on it. I'm going to probably find something else. I might go to YouTube. I don't care to watch this all that much, unless I'm doing a rewatch right now.
Wow. Jordan, I really feel like this is the first time we have been really this far apart. Like normally if you say 7, I'll say an 8, or if you say 6, I'll say 7. But this is the first time like I said a 6 and you were like 2.5. So this is interesting because we clearly saw this from different vantage points, and that's okay. That's what makes this great. And hey man, I enjoyed it as always. I know you got to get ready to get out of here because you're getting ready to go check out your Penn State Nittany Lions. Go Dogs! I'm a Bulldog. I love you, Jordan, but I can't root for anybody but the Bulldogs. But I don't root against you. But oh, here we go. Here we go.
I don't got a hat. I don't got a hat.
I thought that was coming.
I don't got a hat.
The way you pulled that off was like, oh, I'm about to drop it on him. Oh wow!
I don't got a hat. I actually don't have a Penn State hat. I have all winter hats for Penn State.
I've gotten to know you, in a little bit, and like normally when I talk trash, you'd be like, okay, like you'll get a ring or a hat or something. So you surprised me with that one. But no, in all seriousness, I know you got to get out of here, man. We're doing Blade next week, right?
Yes.
All right.
Oh, I'm looking forward to Blade because I haven't watched it a ton. I watched it a lot when I was really young, and I didn't remember it until I started rewatching the movies, and I rewatched all 3 when I was in college in like 2020, 2021. So this is also going to be pretty fresh for me. Like I had Blade action figures, I had Blade comics, like Blade, because I was in the middle of the trilogy when I was growing up, and it's so different from all the movies we're going to be watching. Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to watch Blade.
It is different. I have some action figures over here, but I don't know what oh wait, I got one. I don't know what I did with the other ones. There's a lot going on, but action figure. I look, you gotta. Jordan and I are nerds at heart, okay? And nerds rule the world, baby. Just saying. Carrie says, have a great day, T. Will and Jordan. Carrie says, Blade, such a great movie. Can't wait for that review. Hey, we're excited about it. But yeah, man, nerds rule the world. You know?
We're going to go back to back. The week after, we're going to be doing Blade 2.
Let's do it. Let's do it, man. I'm excited about it with Wesley Snipes and Christopherson. So really excited about it. Jordan, hey, man, as always, this is fun, brother. Really enjoyed this, even though you didn't enjoy the movie. I enjoyed the review. I enjoyed the process. I think it was fun. Tell these folks where they can find you, my brother.
You can find me at Old Tegacy, ULTEGACY. I post a bunch about sports. We're going to be posting a ton over the next, rest of the year. You can find me on Letterboxd, where I have rankings of all the movies. All the ratings that you see are already on my Letterboxd. I have also ratings for all the TV shows and individual episodes. I have all these rankings, and I'm also on Instagram. So, yeah, I just got back to Instagram. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, hey, man, as always, hey, enjoyed it. This was fun. You can find me at 4MYATLSorts1, but specifically when it comes to movies at 4MYATLMOVIES1. If you have not liked, shared, and subscribed, please do that. Not only will you see all of the Marvel and DC content that we have here, but you will also see some other movies and other series that I'm doing that you can only find exclusively at 4MYATLMOVIES1. So do me a favor, if you get a chance, go to 4MYATLMOVIES1 and like, share, and subscribe. Really trying to build that up because we do have some sports fans that like the movies, and we have some others that don't. So ultimately, the goal is to kind of put all the movie and TV content at 4MYATLMOVIES1 and all the sports content at 4MYATLSports1, although that's a ways away. But if you like the show, if you like the podcast, if you like the review, please go to 4MYATLMOVIES1 on YouTube and like, share, and subscribe. Again, to everyone who showed up in the chat, Carrie, we really appreciate it. We appreciate you. To all of us watching it from various platforms, we appreciate you. Look, we love to talk about movies. We love to talk about the MCU. Jordan and I would talk about this all day if we could. We can't, but we would. And so we definitely appreciate your participation and just jumping in and talking and just allowing us to talk about and through this with you. Last but not least, I want to thank God for bringing all of you in my path and my brother Jordan here, who's, I think my brother from another. And last but not least, thank God for waking me up. And I want to thank Mr. Eric Parker and my brother, my blood brother, and Mr. Jack Spade for giving me my shot in this business. You guys have an amazing day. We will see you next Saturday. Don't know what time, but it will be Blade. We'll be doing Blade 1. You guys have an amazing day. Go Bulldogs. Not going to root against your Penn State Nittany Lions because they're not playing me. So, I hope you have a great day. I hope you have a great day. And, we'll see you in the playoffs, and we'll put the beat down on you. But that's a ways away, Jordan. That's a ways away. Hope you guys have an amazing day. Thanks, everybody.
Same.
Lights, camera, action is going down. For my ATL movies when we run this town. With your host T. Will, yeah, keeping it real. From the A to the screen, you can feel the thrill. Rolling with the classics, we're setting the pace. Highlighting the magic of our soulful space. Got the vibe, got the crew, making it tight. When the screen lights up, everything feels right. Grab your popcorn, let's make it loud. It's movie time, ATL style. Stand proud from the silver screen
Well, hey.